Alright, guys. I gotta do rerolls. I gotta do rerolls because I didn't realize Stellar Blade doesn't come out until June. So we have to reroll for Stellar Blade. And Hatoful Boyfriend apparently is not on sale. It's $10, and I don't want to pay full price for it. So we're re-rolling for it. So I thought I had it in my inventory. Apparently I don't. So we're just gonna do a quick re-roll on that shit. Really fast. Alright. So I pulled two really bullshit pulls right now. I'm not even gonna lie. I pulled one push up per day. Or per one push up per I pulled one push up per death. So I'm keeping it. I rolled it. I was really contemplating going live and pretending like I didn't roll it, but I'm gonna add it to it. And we also just rolled Danganronpa Reload. So I'm adding it. I'll probably put it in place of Stellar Blade. Danganronpa Reload. I think that one's on my PlayStation. I'll have to check later. I'm trying to download all this tonight. That's the thing. I had to roll this tonight because while I'm streaming, I'm not gonna be able to download all this because it takes up so much bandwidth that it really slows down my connection speed quite a bit. So I have to have all these already kind of like downloaded before I launch up for the weekend. All right, so last roll. Unless I get unless I get another punishment, then we're gonna have to roll again. Fuck, if I get sit-ups. Fuck. I'm gonna hate this weekend. Oh, this is actually a fire fucking map for marbles too. Alright, alright. Come on, what's in the lead? Oh, there goes Half-Life. And it's dead. Let's see. Over here. Final Fantasy? Oh, King of Fighters! This map is kind of strange. It's a little strange because, like, it goes throughout this entire house, but, like, the way that it's designed, like, like, one marble can't have too much distance from all the others. Like, it gives it a chance for, like, all the marbles to catch up, which is kind of what I like. Astrobot! Yes! Oh my god, yes. Astrobot would fire. Down the line. Man, they have to make a whole fucking U-turn over here and go down the stairs this way. Didn't lead over here. Oh god, if that lazy marble fucking wins, I'm not counting. Yo, thank you for the follow. Thank you. We're rolling some marbles to figure out what the games are gonna be for the marathon that's gonna be coming up. Whoa, what's going on right now? Holy moly, thank you for the follow. Whoa. I just realized I don't have my thing pulled up. Oh, wait, 1 second. There we go. Thank you guys. Roy Reese and Liam, thank you so much for the follows. Thank you. Oh, wait, did something actually won? No freaking way, lazy one. No. I'm counting that as Astrobot. I'm sorry. I'm counting that as Astrobot. There's no way. I'm not giving that to lazy. Oh. Fuck. God damn it. All right. Rules are rules, but you know what? Lazy chooses. I'm in parentheses. I'm putting that as Astrobot. I'm putting it as Astrobot in case he doesn't end up choosing something. Okay. Astrobot is fairly short, so I'm gonna need at least one more pick. I'm probably gonna need at least one more pick. All right. Grab a drink at the bars and dead last. Yeah, buddy. Oh my god, I'm gonna have to dye my hair this weekend. Oh god, I look so good with black hair though. Oh, I'm so afraid of that. I'm so afraid that it's gonna fry my hair. Again, Half-Life got taken again? Yo, this game does not want me to play Half-Life. I've never played Half-Life in my life. No, Sherlock! Oh no, don't tell me I'm gonna get Astrobot again. Ooh, but Onimusha would be fired. Oh, I'd be so down for Onimusha playthrough. Oh, yes, yes, yes. Drive to the shop and crack open cards would be wild. I would have to go so far away because I don't want to go to the card shop that's by my house. I don't need you guys know where I live, alright? I'll probably go to like Hollywood or some shit. Ooh, it looks like Onimusha's like... Wait. Oh, Alice Madness Returns? Yes. Where's Outlast? Honestly, I might just... If I get the opportunity to veto at least one game, I might just end up replacing it with Outlast 2. Just because I want to play it so bad. I want to play it so bad. And like, I want to get like really, really fucking drunk and play it. Oh my god, Atlas! Yes! Holy shit, that game is so fucking trippy. Oh, I could not be happier. Okay. That's actually a phenomenal pick. Oh my god, what color are you dyeing your hair? I have to go blonde. if you chance it to get League? Oh my god, I don't even know if that's an option right now in this. I haven't played League in years. I'm kind of down. I'm kind of down. I'm not that great with League though. I'll see what I got. I don't have that many characters. That's the thing. From what I know about League right now, get back on it. Okay, I don't have that many characters. I know that like the characters like go in and out of rotation, but I'll see because like right now I think Garen is like super easy to counter. A lot of people just know his gimmicks way too easy, you know. But I used to be an Ezreal main back in the day, like when I first started. I don't know now because they changed him so much. He feels a lot less powerful than he used to be in like the first like 2 or 3 seasons. But yeah, that was like way back. Okay, Alice Madness Returns though. That's a great pick. Oh man. Okay, one more. I feel like I got one more marble in me before I have to call it a night. League is such a random... Actually, you know what? Oh, I'm gonna add League. I'll add League for you. Let's see. Yo, if you end up actually winning this is gonna be wild. 67? Alright. Bots. Play. I'll tell you what. Even if it doesn't end up winning, I'll probably do at least I'll do one one night out of the week. If I finish a game before nighttime, I'll do like an hour or two at least. Maybe we'll see. We'll see. I got to download it again though. I just recently uninstalled it to make a bunch of space for all the games I was gonna download for the marathon. But yeah, no, I've had that shit downloaded for quite some time. I just never launch it. That and MTG Arena too. All right, let's see where it's at. Well, I like the rain sounds. Do you guys ever like go to bed with like the rain and thunder sounds? I had like that kick a couple months ago where I was like doing that quite a bit. And honestly, some of the best sleep I've ever gotten. Oh no, not let the boys decide a random game. Oh god. I'm scratching that one out. If that one wins, I'm scratching that one out. There's no way. I used to all the time. Yeah, no. I haven't done it in quite a while. I think I was doing it like maybe like maybe a year and a half ago. When I was like working out a ton. Wait, is Azra's Wrath? Oh my god, I've heard such good things about that game. Reroll! Reroll! Oh my god, it was so close. It was so close. That was unbelievably close. Okay. Uh so just in case, I'm gonna have some backup games in here. So Azra's Wrath, because this is gonna be on the PlayStation, so I have a little bit more space on my hard drive to download some of these other games. Onimusha. I might have Onimusha on my PlayStation too. Okay, so these are gonna be backups. I'm gonna add League. Yeah, I'll add League at least like a night or two. Depends on how I end up enjoying it, because League of Legends. I'll be honest. At least the one thing I like about League is that it doesn't take as long as like a Valo game. In Valo, like once you get into a rank game, you're stuck in it for an hour, maybe sometimes an hour and a half. It goes OT, you know. What's your take on new God of Wars? Oh yes, I loved the new God of Wars. One thing, one thing I do wish they would have brought back a little bit more though is I wanted more of like the button mashing for finishers and boss fights and stuff like that. And they had like phenomenal they did a phenomenal job with God of War. Absolutely phenomenal. Um but when you're going up against like big gods, like especially like with Kratos, like specifically with like the Poseidon fight, or when he's climbing up on Gaia and stuff like that, um those fights were like gigantic in scale. And I wanted them to kind of bring that a little bit more. Like one of the things that one of the fights that got really close to that was the Valkyrie Queen fight, like the secret boss towards the very end. Got so close to that. Like it would have been really fucking cool if like when you grabbed her wings or something like that. Like obviously not to spoil the ending for people that didn't get the secret boss on that one, but yeah, like an example is like if you went up against an enemy like that, doing specific button combinations to like rip off wings or like to like rip off limbs and stuff like that would have been really cool. I love that kind of button combination finishers for those games. I'm really excited for like whatever they're gonna come out with next, because like from what I've been hearing recently, Santa Monica Studios is planning to like start working on a new title that's like outside the God of War realm. So the fact that they're actually kind of like they're still working on like the sequel to God of War, obviously, the God of War 3, but the fact that they're working on something that's like going to be completely different from what they've been working on the past what like almost decade is I'm really excited about that. I'm not gonna lie, I'm really looking forward to what they're gonna be bringing out though. Oh, right. I also have to put Valo. I gotta grind ranks because it's been a while. I got the itch a couple weeks ago and I jumped on Valo ranks again. But I'm probably gonna be playing this in the mornings when I wake up. I'm gonna have a coffee, probably make like some eggs in the morning, and then jump on play some games like as early as I can. I'm not much of an early morning person, but I'll try to set some alarms. I'll try to set some alarms. But yeah, no. As far as that goes, I think one thing I do want to get to though, I never had a chance to play the DLC for God of War. I downloaded it. I have it ready to go on my PlayStation, but ever since I transitioned onto like the computer, I rarely boot up my PlayStation as much as I did before. I really want to finish it though. I really want to finish it. Played Bloodborne? Oh, started it, didn't finish. But that's another game on my list. That's another game. Ah, Bloodborne would be so good. I'm waiting though. I'm waiting because I know for a fact they're going to be coming out with a remaster. They have to. Bloodborne has to get a remaster. Uh, Second, I'm waiting on Liza P to drop their DLC. As soon as I finish Liza P, I'm probably gonna be getting into either Bloodborne or Elden Ring. Depends because I think some of the guys were saying that they could beat me time wise at Elden Ring. So I'm thinking of doing kind of like a speed run of that game. I'm gonna see. They wanted to do like duos, so it was gonna be like Lazy and John, and it was gonna be me and Henry. We're gonna try and see like who could beat the game first, or something along those lines. We gotta still like kind of we gotta work on the ruling systems because they don't stream. The only person that streams is me, so like it's really hard to keep track of what they're playing and what their like experience is gonna be if they're not gonna be doing any streaming or anything like that. But I mean, I'd be able to keep track of like my gameplay with Henry or something, you know. Personal opinion: Bloodborne over Elden Ring any day. Yeah, I hear a lot of people say that. I think mostly because of the parry systems, right? Like the fact that or even the enemies themselves feel just a tad bit different from Elden Ring. I think Elden Ring is a phenomenal piece of work though. Phenomenal. Like there's just so much backstory to it. And there's so many improvements. Like I think Elden Ring is the accumulation of so many errors over the years that like Dark Souls, Demon Souls, everything accumulated into Elden Ring, and it just made such a great game that, in my personal opinion, the only thing that was missing was kind of like I know they might have added it in the newest DLC. I haven't had a chance to play the new DLC yet, but like one thing I really wanted in Elden Ring was kind of like flying mounts and stuff like that. Like I really wanted them to add like a flying eagle or like a dragon or a wyvern that like you were able to like ride, or like if they did like the Shadows of Colossus mechanics, or Dragon's Dogma mechanics where like you were able to like climb up on an enemy and like tame it. And that would have been really cool. Or if that, like, make that a class itself, you know, or like something that you can unlock on your tree skill in some way. Like the fact that you can like mount something and like keep it as like a way of transportation would be amazing. Like imagine running into like one of those the mimic bears and like you're able to like tame it or something. That shit would be badass to be rolling in on. But yeah. I don't know. There's a lot of really cool stuff that they could add to that game. A lot, and that's the beauty of Elden Ring. I think with um, Bloodborne has limitations because it has to be within like the gothic settings and stuff like that. But I think Elden Ring has like more of an open interpretation. You know, you can add things to Elden Ring and it could still fit within the world, if that makes any sense. Shadow of the Colossus, what a game. Yes. Honestly, one of my favorites. I don't know if you've ever played Ico. Ico is really good too. I never had a chance to finish it though. It was actually I don't know if I added that to my list or not, but yeah, I have that downloaded too on my PlayStation. But Shadows of the Colossus was one of my favorite games growing up. Hands down. I think I spent an entire summer. I was one of those kids that didn't necessarily like go out up until like late high school. Like my parents were very strict. It was kind of like they were very double-sided. You know, they were very strict about not letting me go out, but they also thought me like spending money on video games or like cards or anything was a waste of money and like a distraction, which I fucking hated because it forced me to get a job at a really early age for years working and like using my own money to buy stuff for myself. But yeah, no, it's so funny though. The fact that like I was able to even have games back then is just phenomenal. Uh yeah, Shadows of Colossus was one of the games though I spent a lot of time on. A lot of time. I was a PlayStation boy growing up. So PlayStation 1, PlayStation 2, PlayStation 3. Yep. I didn't get my first Xbox 360 until I got my first job working at a smoothie shop. And that wasn't until like 2011, 2012, something like that. So yeah, I before that, I would only play Xbox whenever I went over to like my friend's house. So like I would go over to my friend's house almost every single day, and I would like just come up with an excuse to just like be over there, and we just like smoke and just get super fucked up and just play fucking Marvel versus Capcom or what Call of Duty or whatever game on Xbox. And that's basically how I ended up getting my experience of like playing Xbox games. Like we went through all the Halo, Gears of War, all the co-op like Xbox games I played just by visiting friends or going to my cousin's house or something along those lines, you know. And then once I got my Xbox 360, that's when I started like going back and playing like all the old school shit. I think I did have an original Xbox at one. I don't know if it was before or after though, because I remember playing a lot of like original Xbox games. Like for some reason, like I know for a fact, um, Chronicles of Riddick came out on the original Xbox, and nobody remembers that game. It wasn't even Chronicles of Riddick. It was like Escape from Butcher Bay or something like that. Nobody remembers that game. It was so good though. It was like it was an RPG similar to a lot of the choice based games from back in the day, like I don't think Time Splitters was a choice based game. It was very close to it, but uh, oh man, what's one that you can compare it to? Like the KOTOR games. It was very similar to the KOTOR games, where like you can explore Butcher Bay, and like the whole premise of the game was that like you were Riddick, you were trying to like you were playing as Riddick, trying to like get out of this high security prison, and it's like the origin of how he ended up getting his eyes from the movies. And it's such a cool backstory. It's such a cool backstory to the movie, and nobody knew about it. No, everybody I ask about the original like Xbox games, nobody fucking knew about that game. I think I played KOTOR also on like the original Xbox back in the day. Uh Fusion Frenzy, man, there were so many good games on the original Xbox, so many. But yeah, my first 360 was back then. I was a Not only that, I wasn't just a PlayStation boy. I was like a handheld boy too, because like I played a lot of Nintendo back then, but I never owned any of the Nintendo consoles. I didn't have a GameCube. I didn't have a 64. I played the 64 whenever I would go over to Lazy's house, so my cousin. Uh, yeah, he was one that exposed me a lot to like Sega Genesis, Nintendo, but I was the one that played Game Boy. I played so much Game Boy back in the day. I had almost every single cartridge from back then. I played. It wasn't until like the DS, the original DS, that I kind of like started losing a little bit of knowledge in, because like I think that was around the time that they started raising the prices for games, and there was just such a variety of games that were coming out that I just couldn't keep up with playing everything. And like that was back then. Imagine now, man. We are so spoiled when it comes to like game releases. We have so many games to play. It's crazy. Like the amount of stuff that like is in my backlog right now is insane. If you would have told little me like 20 years ago that like I'd have this many games to play on right now, like the existence of Game Pass would have been a thing, like Steam being readily available. You could download emulators, ISOs, all this like cool stuff. And like now it's kind of like not necessarily frowned upon as much as it was back then, because like now the copyrights are kind of like starting to like wane out a bit. So now you can play up to like PlayStation 1 games on emulators and not really get into trouble as much. Um but yeah, back in the day was like a huge hassle, you know, like to get find a website that was actually safe to download stuff. Because like I mean, as a kid, I mean, yeah, I didn't have that much money, so I had to figure out some ways of like playing games. Now it's a lot easier to get stuff though, a lot easier. And I didn't necessarily get an appreciation of it as much until I started like working at a game store. I think once I started working at a game store, I really came to like develop an appreciation of like actually collecting these things. There was value to them. It was not only that, but it was like the prestige of like owning a really good copy of something, uh, and you know, being like one of the being such a big fan of like a series that like you went out of your way to like hunt for these things. I met people from the game store that I used to work at. It was like a mom and pop shop, so like I didn't have that like GameStop experience, which a lot of people hate. uh i I you know, I grew up separately from that, so I still shop at GameStop, but but yeah, I've heard a lot of people talk a lot of bad stuff about GameStop, and that's not to like the corporation's fault. You know, the gears of the employees in it going coming in and out and stuff like that. There's a lot of bad shit happens. A lot of bad shit. But but yeah, no. As far as like mom and pop shops go, it was fun. It was a really fun experience, and I got to meet a lot of really cool collectors because I not only worked at a game store, I worked at it doubled. It was a game store and a movie store and a collectible store. So I was able to like work with people that enjoyed such a big variety of things. I met so many people that worked in the video game industry. I met so many people that worked in the film industry, music industry. I met a lot of people that were like collectors. Man, let me just say, collectors are some of the most oddball people you will ever meet. They're cool. They're pretty cool. Like, but man, they have such an obsession collecting certain things, man. Like, I met this one dude who was a pop figure like head, like trying to collect everything. And this was before like the big boom of like pop figurines, like where it just got out of control and they bought up every IP they could get their hands on. But this dude had like floor to ceiling pop figures in like four different rooms, and it was crazy. You'd walk in and like the entire hallway was just filled with pop figurines. There was a guy that I met that also like was like a big collector of like the Kiribukuya figurines, but like oh my god, the amount of space you need to fit all those figurines is crazy. Like I promised myself that I wouldn't get a huge a huge statue until like I had my own place or something, you know. And these guys were like in tiny ass apartments, just stuffing as much as they could into these, just because they were like such big fans of these highly collectible figurines. But yeah, yeah, it was pretty fun. Sometimes we'd get people that would like trade in like these gigantic statues that you could only acquire from pre-ordering games and stuff like that, which were super sought after. And the coworker that had hired me would sometimes do kind of like these like really cool deals, you know, because obviously you didn't have to fall under the regulations of like corporations. It was a mom and pop shop, so there was more like leeway to basically haggle with between the employee and customer. So sometimes we do kind of just like these trade-offs, you know. You were able to trade really good collectibles, but like obviously you had to be very knowledgeable on what you were buying and trading and selling and stuff like that. You had to know what you were looking for. You had to make sure that like the items that you were um, buying were authentic, not damaged, and that's basically what taught me to kind of like have an eye for a lot of that stuff. There were many years of errors. I they taught me how to like spot real and fake stuff, obviously, but like you know, it took a long time to get to that point. A long time, because obviously you're gonna make many mistakes on the road before you get to that point. Yeah, that was rough. I think my first month or two of working at that one of those stores, I got so nervous working with the boss that I almost gave away an Xbox 360 for free to a customer. No, I actually it was an Xbox One. It was when Xbox One was coming out. But like I forgot to charge him and he walked right out the door. I had to call him and tell him to I had to beg him to fucking come back because he had already walked out the fucking door. So he was like, you know, oh, that was about to come out of my paycheck. But yeah, yeah. Luckily, he ended up coming back, and he was a super chill dude, and ended up paying for the console. I was so lucky with that, though. Yeah, yeah. Many mistakes. Uh oh, right. I think as far as games though, I get so sidetracked. I'm so sorry. Uh, uh, uh this was supposed to be a super quick stream, just rolling these marbles, but ended up turning into a 30-minute yap session. I enjoy reminiscing about some of the past. To think, it's kind of funny the amount of stuff that I can talk about uh from working at the game store, but like it was such a like small like time, you know, like I was only there for like I think about 5 years, maybe a little bit more, like 5 or 6 years, something like that. I think maybe less. I think it was around 5 years, like 5.5 years. I do the same. I miss midnight releases, dude. Oh my god, I was there for GTA 5. GTA 5's release was insane. The cool thing about the store that I worked at too was okay, don't tell anybody this, but like at the time that I was working there, we did early releases. So because I don't think they were contracted to they were contractually obligated to like sell on street dates and stuff like that. I think I don't necessarily know the whole like thing behind that because I wasn't like running things at that time. Um, but yeah, we were able to break street dates quite a bit and sometimes sell games like a week in advance, and it was awesome. It was one of the reasons why GameStop kind of hated us a little bit because like we were just running them out of business in the area that we were at. Um there was so much beef between those stores too. I don't think GameStop as a corporation really gave a fuck at all. But like the store that was like around our area, the manager would literally dig in our dumpsters looking for receipts so that basically they could catch us like selling early releases, because that was the deal that like if you're able to catch another store selling a game early, you're granted access, or you're granted the legality to like basically release early also. That was like the whole deal back then. Like if you were actually gain evidence of somebody selling merchandise before street date and stuff. Uh because obviously it's like then it's the wild wild west at that point. Well, if he's doing it, then I can do it too. But that's the one of the cool things about man, that was just oh god. I miss it, and at the same time I don't. I miss it and I don't. I think one of the things I really miss was being surrounded by people that just like were passionate about video games and movies and anime and collectibles. You know, being in those spaces is so fun when people are like really into it. I just realized that we might be region locked out of league for each other. I'm from the UK. Oh, that sucks. I didn't know that. I didn't realize that that league did region locking for that. Yeah, that's crazy. Man, I can't believe region locking is still a thing too. Like I remember back in the day, uh PS2, that was like a really big thing with PS2s. It was it was such a problem that I tried to get this game. This was a game that I had heard about quite a bit. That is showing titty. Wikipedia page instead. But this is a Galarians. This you can't get this anywhere. It's not on Steam. It's not on Xbox. It's on the PlayStation stores. Um, you're only able to play this on the system itself, and I have no idea why they haven't released it in like the classic catalogs or anything. They came out with the anime back in the day, which was how I found out about it. But Galarians was a crazy watch, so much so that it made me go and like seek out the game for this. It's such a good survival horror. So good. Single player, I think it only takes like a couple hours to beat. This was like around the time that I think Parasite Eve was like big, you know, like obviously like the survival horror, the like early Resident Evil games. Galarians was fire though. I loved the concept to it. Uh it was very kind of oh yeah, early games of the Resident Evil series. Yeah, yeah, yeah. But it was kind of it mixed a lot of the cool aspects of like Resident Evil with like the telekinesis and powers of like Akira, which is what like blew my mind as like a little kid that like loved Akira growing up and like all those kinds of animes. Like this game just hit every spot for me. But yeah, I'm so bummed that you can't find this anywhere. Like PlayStation 2, for some reason, you can only find it on emulation. And if you're lucky, you might find a copy of this game, maybe import, which is so tough. I think I've found this game one time in the US in English. Once, I think. And I'm not even sure if it was a real copy or not because I think this might be import only. Um and luckily when I started working at the game store that I was working at, we had technicians that showed me how to basically uh region I forget what they call it. It's not region. Basically unlock the region lock for the PlayStations and stuff like that. And we were able to make it so that you could play like imports and stuff like that on like the earlier PlayStations, which was awesome. Like I really miss being able to do that. I don't think I've worked on a console in a long time. But yeah, I was kind of like doing a little bit of like technician work around that time too. I wasn't doing like a lot of their big like repairs because I was just so swamped when I was working there. I was working three different locations, picking up all their merchandise from their warehouses. Um, delivering them to every location, working on conventions like Anime Expo and E3, inventory management, and on top of that, I started handling all their Amazon accounts. Uh, After I became inventory manager at a certain point, there was just so much work that was just thrown onto me, man. There was just way too much for me to like focus on anything. Like honestly, it baffles me that like I haven't returned back into like something more stressful and pressing. Right now, I'm in a very cozy position. I have really good um I have really good pay. I get really good benefits and stuff like that. I make my own hours. So I'm very fortunate. I mean, I'm not making as much as like I really would want to. I can't necessarily like pay like for anything extravagant rent wise, you know? Like I could probably pay for like a pretty decent studio or something if I want to do solo, but I find it a waste of money cuz like then I just be completely like using up my entire budget to like live in a place and then spend like probably 90% of my time outside of it. Never in my apartment. And I can't justify the purchase for it. That I guess that's probably why I started streaming a little bit more though, because I don't know. I think I kind of like that the experience a bit. I don't really go out too much anyways, but that I think that's the trade off. You know, you get a place, you gotta go get a job to pay for it, and then you end up spending like 80, maybe 90% of your time actually like utilizing it. It makes no sense. Use a car more than you use your apartment, probably in most places. I can only imagine the percentage of like New Yorkers like that use their actual place, let alone LA. LA is kind of starting to get to that point, you know? LA is very close to like reaching that. But I'm not too sure. After like all the fires and a lot of the studios being like affected by it. There's a lot of like Hollywood people that are kind of like moving out of LA. So who knows what's going to happen within the next couple of years here. Like if prices are going to start dropping, if you're going to see like a lot of the industry start moving to other areas like Canada, because a lot of the animation jobs like 10 years ago, specifically like Sony, Warner Brothers, Illumination, they all moved to like I think was it Vancouver or Toronto or something like that. I can't necessarily remember. I think it was Toronto, maybe Vancouver. It's been a while. But yeah, yeah. But that was like my initial plan when I first got into like animation, uh, 2D specifically. I my plan was that I was gonna study and then end up moving to like Canada at a certain point to go to the university up there, and then uh 3D animation started to like boom when I was in college, like right when I entered college. There was this gigantic boom. Maya came out with their new, I think it was Maya 3 at that time, and people were just going bananas over it, and like the 2D animation field just like ooh. And I had to learn a whole new tool for animation, which I didn't understand anything. I felt like a grandpa going into that because I literally was utilizing sticks and paper to animate, and like now I had to use a computer and figure out accesses and figure out all these new tools on a program, and I felt so out of my element. It took me years to get familiar with Maya. Now I'm so much better than I was before. I mean, I could probably launch up Blender and do like something, but it's really time consuming. I uh I think Maya frees up a lot uh though in the long run for animation. Like all the issues that I hated 2D animation for, like doing all the in-betweens, which I found so tedious. I loved doing the key animation frames. Key animation is so good because you get the gestures, you know exactly where your character is going to be going. But all the in betweens feel like such a waste of time sometimes. The only payoff is that when you finish the work and like you see it come to life, you're like, that's why I invested so much time doing in betweens and like correcting every little movement of them. But like beyond that, I found it so tedious too. And that's what I loved about Maya and Blender, because it's more of like puppeteering. You just create the model and you move the pieces in the right direction, positioning, and then snap a photo, and then the computer does the rest for you. It literally just animates all the in between for you, which I thought was really amazing. Um, but yeah. And then I think last year I started learning Unreal Engine a lot. Unreal Engine is amazing, may I add. The new Unreal Engine tools that they just released for Unreal Engine 5, incredible the amount of detail that you can get. It's incredible the amount of free content that's available. Um, which is probably one of the big issues for the video game industry right now, I think, in my personal opinion, because a lot of people are reusing the same assets, so it's making every single game look exactly the same. There's just so much repetition. It saves the studio a lot of time, but there's like not a lot of originality like there was before. Uh, Before, when like game designers had to write all their own code, they had to build a game from scratch. It felt so much more authentic. Of course, like they took a lot more risks back in the day. A game failed, a studio like probably was going under. So like you had to make sure you were investing heavily into whatever project you're to. But I think because of that, um, there was a lot more passion projects. Now, now it feels like, you know, you can launch up a game sometimes and you just kind of like already know exactly how it's gonna play. Writing wise, you kind of already know where it's gonna go because you know all the limitations to what the engine can do. Um, but beyond that, yeah, I don't know. I feel like there's not like a lot of surprises like they were back in the day. But of course, I also come from like the age of Game Boy and handheld stuff. So like I also am a firm believer that like graphics aren't necessarily everything. I mean, I think I had so much fun, so much more fun with games like Pokemon, um, Mega Man Battle Network, um, like Yu-Gi-Oh! Duelist of the Roses, and like Yu-Gi-Oh! Battle City. Battle City was such an incredible game. Uh, Based off of the actual original series Battle City, which was I think like season 3 or 4 or something like that, with like all the Egyptian gods. But like that game arguably is better than like maybe half the games that came out on like PlayStation 1 or PlayStation 2 around that time. Arguably. I will say there's like exceptions to the rule. Duel, we need to run it on Master Duel soon. Yo. Okay, I don't fuck with the new Yu-Gi-Oh shit though. I I'm sorry. I think for me, Yu-Gi-Oh ended right after I want to say like a couple seasons after Battle City. I can't remember exactly what the rest of it. Oh yes, old school decks would be fire because like, oh man, this whole XYZ bullshit fusion stuff is way too much, man, way too much. And then they have like those weird ass like jet dragons that like come back from the graveyard and shit. Oh god. Uh by far the most interesting concept for Yu-Gi-Oh came out around that time too, where yeah, the links the links, oh god, it's so broken. It's so broken. They trashed the entire system. I loved it when it was just Egyptian gods, there were these pharaohs and these Egyptian warriors that were just dueling utilizing trapped monsters. Like the premise of Yu-Gi-Oh is so interesting because it dates back to um like the Solomon's keys and stuff like that. because that's what it's heavily like based on. Solomon trapping demons, utilizing sigils, and then while they're trapped, he basically interviewed them and asked them about their weaknesses and about like other demons, and he developed just like an affinity for magic because of like these interviews with them, because he I think he had like a special ring or something that like allowed him to overpower the spirits. But like Yu-Gi-Oh is just, it follows that kind of like tradition quite a bit, and it's so interesting like the way that they went from like the Egyptian stone tablets to like utilizing cards. It's such a phenomenal kind of like story. But one of the interesting things that that Battle City did around that time was Dungeon Dice Monsters. I'm so surprised that Dungeon Dice Monsters didn't get as much of a like positive reception as it should have. I think Dungeon Dice Monsters was so interesting. There it did have kind of like sort of limitations to it, I will say, but I think Dungeon Dice Monsters like could have gone so much further if they maybe had like a bigger, wider like board, and if it played out more of like Warhammer or like Dungeons and Dragons, where it's just like maybe a bigger, like wider map area. I think it would have been really cool. Dude, the turn one boards these days are so broken. 508s and destroys. Yeah. Yes, absolutely. I I don't get it. I don't get the appeal of like Yu-Gi-Oh having these like battles where you're waiting 20 minutes for your opponent to like go through their entire like phase. Like I really don't understand the appeal of it sometimes. Other than like the theatrics, like I will say I have watched like other people play like new Yu-Gi-Oh, and like when they play into it and they're like, I'm gonna do this and then this and then this, and they're like really into it, like it looks really fucking funny. But like beyond that, I would hate to be in a match like that. I think it's one of the reasons why I love like very simplistic style games like MTG Arena, because like sure there's like a lot of bullshit you can do in MTG Arena, but like the phases are very kind of like forward, like you draw your card, you take your actions, you fight, and then you have an opportunity to place down something at the end, and then end phase. Very quick. Most people already know what they're gonna do like as soon as they draw their hand most of but yeah, you either go first or fold. It's so stupid. If not going first, I'll go make a coffee. True though, true. It's uh, Yu-Gi-Oh is a whole different beast for sure. It makes me miss too like I think Yu-Gi-Oh was one of the first like card based games that like I actually like really got into, beyond like Magic the Gathering, because I think Magic the Gathering was one of the first like games I got kind of like I actually was like faced off against other people. I never did that with Pokemon cards. Pokemon cards was strictly only collecting. I never played it beyond that because I found the rule systems just complicated as fuck. I found that it wasn't necessarily as balanced as it should have been. But there was something about MTG that just like felt very balanced. Um, and then Yu-Gi-Oh came along, and Yu-Gi-Oh was like a breath of fucking fresh air, especially those first couple of seasons, man. That the systems that they used was very straightforward. The one thing I didn't like was the way that they portrayed fusion monsters in the series was so much different than how they operated in like actual games or the video game interpretation. Because in the anime, they made it seem like, oh, you could fuse any single monster, like fusion could be applied to anything and you'd get just like this incredible fusion of whatever you're like utilizing. I don't think there was a single instance in Yu-Gi-Oh the anime that like the fusion didn't work, like there wasn't a moment where like a player played it and like uh the 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 character went, "Oh, that didn't work. I guess it's because it doesn't have a fusion or something." I fused Baby Dragon with Dark Magician. Yeah, yeah. It's stuff like that. Like but like when you try applying that logic to the video games, you there were so many limitations because they didn't want to go through the entire like card catalog and have to create a fusion for every single like thing that you could create, you know? Which I found a little lame, but I kind of understood why they did it. It would have made a lot of sense if they went more of like the Digimon route, where like obviously you're not gonna have like an enormous amounts of like variations to it, but like if you fuse just like common monsters, if you got like a common fusion, it would have made a lot more sense, like, oh, if you fuse stuff that didn't go along, you got like the shit Digimon. That would have made a lot more sense, and it would have been funny too because like people would like try so many different fusions in the games and they would just get like this really shitty monster. Like it would be fucking funny as fuck. And then like once in a blue moon, you just like try a random fusion and you get like this blue eyes, three-headed dragon, and it would just be like, ooh. Like it's I think that's kind of like the euphoria for like those kinds of games, but they kind of miss that point in the video games. Specifically, I think Duelist of the Roses. Duelist of the Roses was really, really good, though. I will say the phenomenal, phenomenal balanced game. The fusion was the only thing that I did. That was the only thing. Beyond that, Duelist of Roses is like a perfect game. Oh man, yeah. Oh god, I gotta get some rest though. I gotta go to sleep. I'm gonna roll one last time. I'm gonna roll one last time, just because I feel like rolling, and then I'm gonna call it a night. It was fun chatting though. It was super fun chatting. I'm gonna be doing a whole week's worth of streaming, so you guys can catch me. Make sure to stop on by. I'm gonna be live starting tomorrow night. So tomorrow night we're gonna be going through starting. Yeah, I guess like around midnight we're gonna be doing the Max Payne trilogy. I'm not sure how long the third one's gonna take, but we're gonna do that one. I'm basically gonna be skipping sleep, and we're gonna be doing I think maybe like around a 48 hour. We'll see how long I last. We'll see how long. A Hat in Time. I, I'm still debating on if I'm gonna do Hat in Time. I might just end up re-rolling this. I might just end up re-rolling A Hat in Time. I'm gonna have it downloaded just in case, but I might just end up switching that for like hmm, I don't know, maybe I can do like the Danganronpa series. That would be fun. I think the Danganronpa series after Max Payne would be uh and then I could probably I'm gonna save Alice Madness Returns. I think that's probably gonna be one of the last games I'm gonna play before I uh knock out because yeah, I think it'll be a good idea. Oh my god. Bayonetta 1. Oh my god, Bayonetta 1. I don't think I've ever played Bayonetta. I don't know what I have it downloaded. I don't know what I have it downloaded on. I think I have it downloaded on PlayStation. Oh no, I have it on Steam. I'm gonna have to download that tonight then. Okay, so this is the list of games that I have on uh both Steam and PlayStation and Xbox collectively, or Game Pass. I'm gonna download those tonight because obviously I can't download while I'm streaming because it just has horrible connection whenever I'm streaming. Uh, but beyond that, if you'd like to see me play anything, stop on by. Maybe I might just end up take a break, play a quick game or something. But yeah, feel free to stop on by. Thank you again for all the follows. Seriously, uh, I do all of this not only because I find it enjoyable, but having these conversations are really fun too. Meeting cool people like you guys. Thank you, thank you. But I'll see you guys all tomorrow. See if I can. Mm-mm-mm. Yeah, yeah, yeah. I'll be on tomorrow. I'm not sure if I'm gonna stream early in the morning or like midday, but I'll try to do something. I'll try it because I have to put in some hours. I have to put in some hours for work because I'm not gonna be working this entire week. So I'm trying to like make up on some of the hours on OT beyond that. But luckily, luckily, I think I'm pretty solid right now. I'm gonna probably be. We'll see. We'll see after I dye my hair. Depending on how much dyeing my hair is gonna cost, it might be a yay or nay. But we'll see. All right, all right. I'll see you all tomorrow, and we'll start the long process of going through a lot of these games. Yes, yes. You know what? I'm adding Outlast 2. I'm adding Outlast 2. I need to play this game. I need to play Outlast 2 at some point. And I'm gonna be so drunk. I'm gonna be so drunk when it happens. I don't I love the first Outlast, so hopefully Outlast 2 is just as good because the first Outlast game blew me away with the ending. The ending to Outlast was amazing. I've never gotten a chance to play 2 though. But I'll have it downloaded just in case. Just in case. It might be my Sunday playthrough. After after I go to eat with Henry in the morning, I might play. Maybe I'll have to talk with Brian because he said he wanted to play some AOE, but we'll see. We'll see. We'll see how it goes. Okay. But anyways, thank you guys. I am going to go to bed. Thank you, thank you, thank you again. I'll see you all next time. Bye. Bye.